Okay, continue with the slides. Regarding sexual harassment, in the manager also need to investigate every complaints. What the manager should do in the organizations. After the complaints has been issued, the manager should investigate every complaints and includes the legal and human resource departments in investigating the complaints. Sometimes the complaints was issued, just indiscriminately, just to find faults. Is not a real complaint. So it is important for the managers to include also human resource departments and legal, so that everyone will be given fair and just evaluations, just in terms of procedures, in term of exercise of power. Because if the women or anyone who complains about sexual harassment, and it's happened, it's actually the complaints is not true, so it's not fair for those who just been complaints about. So it is important for the managers or the organizations to investigate, to consider every aspect, so that the victims and those who have been complaints also will receive a fair judgment, not just look at the victims. So it is important to make sure that the offenders, after they investigate and then they found out that there actually sexual harassment happened in the organization, so the offender should be disciplined or terminated. So that's why it is important to have human resource departments, I mean managers or officers from human resource departments and legal departments to come together to decide what kind of disciplines or what kind of action should be taken in order to punish the offender. So if let's say the offender has been punished, but the offenders perhaps didn't feel satisfied and feel that they just been discriminated, maybe the offender will file a complaint, or will go to the courts to complaints about this. So that's why it is important for the managers or for the organization to investigate every complaints and to include legal, because legal know what actually should be done, what actually shouldn't be done. So this will avoid problem later when the offenders think they are not being given justice when investigating when the managers organization investigates regarding the complaints. So it is important also for the managers to set up in-house seminar, giving some seminar to the employees to raise employees awareness regarding the issues that surrounding sexual harassment, how serious is the sexual harassment to the employees. So sometimes when in the groups, people can exercise power. So when people in the groups, they may form a groups, or when there are few people or few members in the groups, power can be exercised. So political behavior is referring to the activities they are not required as part of the one formal rules in the organizations, but that's even though they are not part of the formal roles of the employees in the organizations, but that behavior can influence the distribution of advantage or disadvantage within the organization. So political behavior, even though are not part of the one formal role in the organization, is actually can influence the distributions of the rewards or the advantage and the disadvantage within the organizations. So political behavior consider outside of one specific job requirements. However, they have related to efforts even though it's not part of the specific job requirements, political power encompasses efforts to influence decision-making goals, criteria, or processes. So, this includes the behaviors such as withholding information, whistleblowing, and spreading rumors, and so on. So, as you can see here, employees can get ahead in the organizations by exercising politics. This is the highest how the employees can getting ahead in the organization. So creativity is the lowest, initiative is the second lowest, hard work is the second highest, but see here politics is the first, is the main factor then that can make employees to get ahead in the organization. So factor that influence political behavior consists of two, individual factor and organizational factor. So individual and organizational factor can influence political behavior which could lead to favorable outcome in terms of rewards, punishment, and so on. So individual factor consists of, for example, personals of the employees, individual employees having high self-monitors, internal locus of control, and so on, and organizational factors such as reallocation of resources, promotion opportunity, and so on. So this slide is just summarize that's a factor that contribute to political power, political behavior consists of two factors, individual and organizational. So for individual factors, researchers identify certain personality traits, needs, and other factors that relate to political behavior. For example, high self-monitors employee also could contributes to individual factor that make people to exercise political behavior. So high self-monitor employees, normally they possess internal locus of control. That means they believe in their ability to control. It's not based on the external factor, but their abilities to control, to decide what's good for them, what's bad for them. And they also, those who have high self-monitors also have high needs for power, and they also, because they have high need of power, and they also believe in their own ability, so this more likely to engage, this kind of people more likely to engage in political behavior. And also have self-monitor is more sensitive to social cues. They tend to observe and then tend to receive cues from social environments, and they also more likely to be skilled in political behavior than those who are lower self-monitor. So those who have a high internal locus of control also are more prone to take a proactive stance and attempts to manipulate situations in their favor. And another personality types is Machiavellian personality. This is the dark sides of personality types. They are comfortable using politics as a mean to further or to get their own self-interest. So Machiavellism is considered is a dark sides of personality. They will exercise political behavior just for their own self-interest. Internal locus actually is a good locus of control that is important to increase performance. But in terms of political power, they consider they could also manipulate situations in the power in order to get interest from that kind of political behavior. So another individual factor is individual investment in the organizations, and perceived alternative and expectations of success will also influence tendency of employees to pursue illegitimate means of political actions. It depends on the individual factors. It depends on the moral of the individual individual factors. If the moral of the individual they consider it is immoral to use illegal means, then they will not do. But it's actually is based on individual factors. So the organizational factors when organizational resources. So we can see that politics are more likely to surface in the organizations when the organization resources are declined because they are competing to get the organizational resources. Some employees will do even illegitimate or illegal way to compete for the resources. So there are lots of political behavior will be shown display when the organization's resources are declining, when the existing patterns of resources is changing, maybe to become lesser and lesser or more. It also can affect people to behave politically, to show political behavior. Also, when there is an opportunity for promotions, so people are competing with each other for promotions. Some people they might resort to politics to get their promotions. And culture in the organizations that characterized by low trust. If their employees have low trust among each other and among managers, also could lead to increased breeding grounds for politicking, and also role ambiguity when the roles are not really clear. And also performance regulations also not clear whether it is how to have how to receive promotions based on performance. When it is not clear, the people may resort to politics. And zero sum rewards allocation practices also could lead people to resort to politics. Zero sum reward is actually referring to win or lose. So that means either you get or you did not get at all. So it's between whether you get something or you lose all. So that's what is meant zero sum reward. Either you get zero or you get whole thing. So zero or you get the whole thing. So it's not just whether you get a little bit, but it's between zero or you get the whole pieces of cake, or you get zero or you get the whole cake. That's what is meant by zero sum rewards. Democratic decision making. When there are democratic decision makings, people just using their exercise their right. So this actually can create a breeding ground for politics. And self-serving buyers or senior managers also can lead to politics. And also when the organization downsizes to improve efficiency, because normally when the organization downsizes, they try to reduce in size. So this affects some employee may be terminated, some employee may stay. So many employees do not want to be terminated. They when the organization downsize, they will use politics to make sure to safeguard that they will remain in the organizations. And promotion decisions also can lead to people to resort to politics, because if they could change the promotion decisions toward their favorable toward their favor, they could resort to politics, to use of politics. So importance of employee response to organization politics. So organizational politics may threaten employees. It is not good to have a high level of organizational politics, because it will lead to increase in job satisfaction among the employees. It will increase anxiety and stress. It will increase turnover, because when people exercise politics, there are many people who will be discriminated, who will be treated unjustly. So many negative effects can be affected. The performance also could decline. So in the organizations, many organizations try to manage their organizational politics so that it will not be so obvious, because it will have negative effects on the performance and also on the employees and so on.